Hello, Internet, and welcome to the Free-to-Play Cast. It's Thursday. Well, for you, it's Thursday watching this. It's Wednesday for us. We're here to talk about free MMO games from MMOBomb.com and all the information from the last week. We hope you'll join us. Stick around and throw your comments below. This is episode 138. I'm Mike Byrne, a.k.a. Magicman, as always. And joining me, man, this guy writes some stuff. Jason Winter.
Yeah, but I don't throw comments down. That's what you say.
You need to drop comments like a mic.
Don't you drop them like a bomb?
Yeah,
Yo,
like an A bomb or a da bomb. In fact.
Yo, word up, homie.
All right, now you've just made this incredibly uncomfortable. Moving over to the news.
It's my superpower. I can make anything uncomfortable.
There's something not quite right with you, my friend. Something not quite right. All right, so first up this week, Neverwinter. So Neverwinter got a brand new lead this week, and it's not. I wouldn't say brand new, right? I mean, because this gentleman's worked on Neverwinter before and has been a lead, just not for the overall development. So Scott, and I apologize if I mispronounced this. It looks like Shaikov. So we'll just call him Scott.
Yep.
Scott Shaikov has become the new lead designer on Neverwinter. Now, previously, Scott's worked as a content lead on Star Trek Online, built Sword Coast Adventures, and was the lead designer on the Xbox One version of Neverwinter. So you got to believe he's very well versed in the project at this point.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, he's been around for a while. He's worked on just about everything that they have there at Perfect World, so he knows the ins and outs.
And knows Cryptic. I mean, working from both Star Trek Online and Neverwinter.
Sure.
So here's the thing, and why are we talking about this? These positions change all the time. Well, this week when Scott posted on the forums or on the official webpage for Neverwinter, kind of giving an introduction, Scott kind of said what a lot of players have thought. And not just about the most recent Elemental Evil module that released, but in a lot of Neverwinter. And he kind of broke it down for us. And you know what? I'm just going to read the quote, Jason. I don't think there's a way to say this better than he did.
Sure.
We are aware that mistakes were made with this release, speaking specifically to the Elemental Evil module. And for that, I would like to apologize. We understand the frustration and are actively working to make positive adjustments. Things won't change immediately, but they will improve over time. Thank you for understanding and giving me the time to help identify and address the issues important to the community. They then followed up by opening a whole forum thread based on feedback for Neverwinter's Elemental Evil module. So first off, before we get to what Scott maybe sees as some things that didn't go quite so well, and what players maybe see, what do you think of the comments overall? It's very rare that we hear a lead designer flat out. Sometimes they come out and they sugarcoat things, right? Well, this didn't go exactly as planned, and we're working on it. This is a new lead coming flat out and just saying, look, mistakes were made. Flat out mistakes.
Sad thing is, I think we're seeing it more and more recently, just because these things are happening and they continue to happen at the pace that they are, and with all the new channels people to talk about and to spread all they want about it, whether it's this or we look at what happened with the Skyforge monetization thing, or we look at all those things that happened with Archage or H1Z1 or stuff like that. Just they're having to do this a lot more often, just because this sort of thing is happening a lot more. So it's 2 or 3 years ago, I might have been more shocked by it. Now I'm just like, oh, new content came out. It was messed up. They apologized for it. Okay, that happened.
Do you think maybe that's more indicative of increased pressure on timelines for developers to push things out? Or is it more indicative of the kind of culture we have in gaming now where, like it or not, we're going to fix things with DLC, and if we put it out and it's a little bit broken, there's not that rush to fix it before release. There's that, well, we could fix that in a patch 2 weeks after it releases.
Well, those are kind of the same thing. If we have this harsh deadline, we can, pull 14-hour nights to try and do it. And maybe it's a good thing that they don't really, you don't hear about that quite as much, about the absolute insane EA spouse kind of crunch time for these guys. Maybe it's okay that they're actually not working 14 hours a day, 6.5 days a week or whatever, and actually maybe getting a little more home time or whatever. But yeah, I think that deadlines are definitely playing into it a little bit more, especially when you have something like this, which was. Now, I think they had some sort of time frame to work on it, but this was this elemental evil thing is just a big thing for Dungeons and Dragons in particular. All their different licenses,
Yeah,
DDO was doing it,
doing it at the
yeah, all
same
the pen and
time.
paper's doing it. So you look at it as sort of being, they didn't have full control. Maybe Perfect World Cryptic didn't have full control over when this would go out. They had to at least somewhat time it with the greater, push that Wizards of the Coast was doing with all their D&D stuff for this.
Now, some of the areas Scott is intending to look at, and it's kind of weird how this is written. The list looks like it could apply to the entire game.
Or just about any game.
Right?
Difficulty, rewards, zones. Well, gosh, that covers everything.
And then Scott goes into some details specifically about the most recent update that's going in this week. And as far as elemental evil goes. But here's some of the areas that Scott wants to look at, and you tell me if. Let me give you the list, because it's just looking at the list. It seems to me like, well, you got a lot of work to do then. Overall difficulty is
We're gonna fix that.
Number one.
We're
We're gonna fix the overall difficulty.
Too much? Is it too little?
Doesn't say.
We're gonna fix it.
Overall difficulty. XP rewards in the new zones and the campaign zones. Now that, in particular, Scott does get a little bit more specific later, so we'll get to that. Invocation. Okay. Something's wrong with Invocation. There's a lot wrong with Invocation, but I wish he would have been a little more specific on that one. Hourly quests. So we're not going to do dailies anymore. We're going to do hourlies. Zone reuse, which is something my friends at Final Fantasy XIV know a little about. Removed dungeons, campaign zone levels, items missing slots or stats, and the ever-popular way to sum up a list like this, and more. This is a pretty big list of there were some mistakes made. And these are core fundamental things. Now remember, Elemental Evil was actually delayed from its original launch date by a few weeks. And you and I looked back on that and said, you know what, I'm kind of okay with these guys doing a delay because Fury of the Feywild, Feywild didn't, the launch didn't go all that well. Updates since then, there's always been something. I'm okay if they looked at this as a target date and said, we're ready, but we want to put some extra time in on things. I'm almost encouraging Cryptic to do that with Neverwinter at this point because they really haven't had one update where you just had the usual bugs, right? Everything's been a catastrophic beast of a hit to the marketplace or the gameplay itself. And we had this delay, and this is the list that Scott's still going to start with looking at.
So the question is, was the delay, hey, we're done, we just need to polish it up more? Or was it, God, we're not even close to being done, we need those 14-hour days now for a few weeks?
Right.
So.
Right, and that's kind of the impression it leaves, doesn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
Now, Scott says he's still in the initial stages of his investigation. After that, they're going to determine what issues require changes, create a list, work through it. Through that investigation, they're going to resolve the issues, get them into the game, know that our goal is to get them tested and to you as soon as we possibly can. To that end, and this is where things get a little more specific, Scott says they are committed to making a change in the next weekly update, which is in the game now as you're watching this or will be shortly. The amount of XP being rewarded by repeatable quests in our campaign areas is not consistent. We need to make some adjustments so that the experience gained from the repeatable quests in the Tyranny of Dragons campaign is in line with the other campaign zones. How do you botch
math.
That one?
Yep. Just math it up, baby. Math it up.
We're only reducing XP given by repeatable quests in the Tyranny campaign area, so not even the current module. We're talking about the previous one at this point. Other quests are unaffected. I know this isn't an ideal scenario, but to help compensate for this change, we'll be running our double XP event for the entire week, starting Thursday, April 23rd, and ending Thursday, April 30th. So if you're watching this the day we post it, you have till the end of today. So we're talking about XP from the previous module, not even the current module, causing issues with the progression through the current module.
I don't know. I hate to talk bad about people, but whoever works on their rewards just needs to be, re-educated or something. Because remember originally when Neverwinter came out, I mean, the first thing was,
Yeah.
hey, here's the Foundry. You can make all these quests. Okay, some people are going to make these repeatable quests, kill 5 orcs, and just keep getting stuff over and over. Oh wait, that's a problem. We need to change how rewards work. So it's just like, it's nice all the stuff they have and how they give you a lot of different ways to do stuff, but they got to realize, just like every MMO, if there's something I can repeat that's easy that gets me good loot, I will grind that out 18,000 times a day
And
instead of doing interesting content.
I seem to remember this happening with Star Trek Online too.
Yeah, they had an issue too, I think, with the Foundry, didn't they?
With both the Foundry and XP.
Okay.
Where, people, if you go on the Star Trek Online forums and you look at things when they run their double XP weekend, the number one complaint on there is that every time they run this to the longtime player base, the reward that you're getting now feels like what was normal XP. So you're getting this huge bonus.
They've scaled it down.
They've scaled things to such a degree that it's dramatically different. And so to old, longtime players, the bonus weekends feel like, okay, I just have to grind less. This is how we used to play the game, fools. So I don't know. Maybe Cryptic needs a math major. Maybe that's it. I
only have a math minor, so
send him a math major. Now here's my question, Mister. I don't know if this is gonna work.
Oh.
Can they possibly address the list that Scott has given in a reasonable time frame?
Well, it depends on what addressing it is. We're going to address overall. We're going to address overall difficulty. So, at some point, they could say we addressed it. All right, it's done.
Yeah, we looked at it. Looked good.
I mean, this is we're getting close to the elections. Or we're not getting close to them, but we're already starting to ramp up that stuff. So this reads like a list of campaign problems. It's like I'm going to tackle the immigration issue. Does that mean you're going to make it harder or easier or put up a fence or whatever? So yeah, they might actually they probably do have some sort of internal documents that state exactly what they're trying to do. Maybe if they really want to get people behind them, maybe they should make some of that public. Say, okay, here are the difficulties. Almost like the roadmap that Daybreak has for their games. Here is how we're addressing difficulty. We're going to tweak this and this and this and that and that and the other thing. Sure, in a long post like this where he's listing those 10 points, whatever, I can get that he doesn't go into great detail on each one of them. But maybe that would be something they could do to somewhere else. Maybe they don't have even a post here. Maybe they put it on the forums or Reddit or whatever and just have a nice long discussion-ish kind of thing where they go into detail about all these various things.
The feedback on the community forum in response to this post is fun as well. The very first reply is, so his first act is to nerf the XP from the Tyranny of Dragons dailies? Really? And this one, this is a good one to me. Some Matlock13 on the forums says, yikes, here's some feedback. This is terrible. The grinding in this game is reaching destructive levels. The experience levels and vigilance quests of the elemental evil zones are already mind-numbing. Nerfing other sources of XP is... Well, think of it from the standpoint of a player with a stable of alts. Would you want to complete 192 vigilance tasks on each of 10 characters just to be able to play all the campaign zones again? And that's getting a lot of +1s as you go down the page.
Yeah, I've got this wider thought of like how MMOs should make it easier to gear level or whatever alts, just because for those people who want to do this stuff but don't want to do everything over and over again like that. But anyway, yeah.
Wow. It's not the zone reuse or the hard-hitting mobs, the bosses with a billion HP struggling is okay in my opinion, especially at the new level limit we should struggle. It's the level adjusting in the new content that really got me. Ding 70, go to the fiery pit and get de-leveled. WTF were you thinking? Wasted code time there. You could have been coming up with new maps or quests or content in general. So it doesn't look like it's going well. It doesn't. It's just. We'll leave it at that. I mean, and usually things like these never go well. Good luck to them. Good luck to them. I'll probably be playing some of the Oathbound Paladin this Monday. I wasn't able to stream this past Monday, so we'll take a look at the class that Elemental Evil brought. Let's move on. let's head on over to Path of Exile. Oh yeah, this is
The one
Jason.
free-to-play game that everybody loves.
The one, this and Warframe. You see those thrown into the comments all the
True.
time. Path of Exile, Warframe. Although Warframe's taking a little bit of a beating on that one right now.
Warframe is owned by Perfect World now, so
Well, a few percentage points. Come on.
whatever.
A few percentage points. So Path of Exile,
irrevocably tainted.
the Awakening, patch 2.0, has launched its closed beta. So first off, before we get any further, closed beta for a 2.0 patch, Jason?
Yeah, but it looks like a pretty big patch. It looks like there's a lot there, and it makes sense. That, again, a lot of free-to-play games don't really have necessarily proper expansions. So, if this is the closest thing they're going to have to an expansion, sure, maybe you need extra work on it.
And they are doing quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Quite a bit. I mean, the Awakening has its own website. It's not even.
It's like an expansion, like I said.
Right. Of course, there are supporter packs though. So if you would like to go buy a supporter pack, they are available now.
I'll get into that a little later. We'll circle back to that later.
Yep. So they released supporter packs today. $5, $10, $20, and you get 50, 100, or 200 points respectively. So, yep, all supporter packs come with a closed beta key for the Awakening. So if you're sick of watching the timer on the homepage for the Awakening and not seeing your name pop up, $5, $10, or $20 can get you into the Awakening right away. So what is the Awakening? Well, a lot of stuff is changing. A lot of stuff. So first off, we have I believe it's Act 4, right? Storyline being added. Tons of content there, which is great. Great. New skills. We got all that good stuff. The stuff that you expect in an expansion or a big patch. New items, all that fun stuff. But, why have a 2.0 beta? Because the user interface is getting improvements, customization options, a complete rebalancing of the game from the very first level. All the changes aren't just on this new content. They're going back and adjusting everything from level 1 on up. Now, I didn't write about this in my article because it's a little bit goofy to try and explain to somebody that doesn't play this. So I'm gonna read Lagwin 1980, who posted, the biggest change is not mentioned. Desync. They will be adding lockstep mode, which was what's used in MOBAs, which will run alongside the current mode of sync. Dev testing so far says it eliminates desync in the game between you and other players, which is fantastic. They're adding some new servers, though there isn't a list yet. They've been mentioning America being split into 2 servers and adding a London server. There'll be a server for Brazil and probably a few more. Going by some of the comments so far, lower-end PCs will see a performance boost as well. They're adding a loot filter, which allows you to share, hide items based on rarity, item level, links, sockets, base type, even individual weapon and armor. You can change text color, text size, borders, sounds. Jewel system, which is being added in here as well to be able to put jewels into... it's a new source of power in your... You can socket your passive skill tree set. And Lagwin thinks the Jewel system has the potential to be game-breaking if it's not done right. In fact, the passive trees already have been altered at least once since the videos were shown just last week. Some changes to Keystone. Mechanics for them need to be tested properly. Something that popped up today was divination cards, but other than its name, we have no idea what they're going to be used for. And more and more and more and more to come. This is, almost to me, we're going to tack on Act 4 as the story and redo the entire game.
Yeah, and like Legman says, the Jewel system has potential to be game breaking if it's not done right. Man, if they're reworking all this stuff, there's going to be some stuff that's going to be not how people are used to. If they're changing everything, some people are going to hate the change. Like you just
absolutely.
know, there's going to be some my build no longer works for RR. So, but I mean, I guess in some sense, it's like they've had a big play test for the last 2 years or however long the game's been around, and now they're going to implement a lot of those changes and revamp how a lot of stuff works and hopefully make it a better game experience. I mean, that's the idea behind it.
It's a huge, huge patch. I feel silly calling this one a patch. We've had the argument, like, should this be called an expansion? When somebody advertises something as an expansion, we're like, come on, that shouldn't. This one I almost feel like they should this is an expansion. because
Yeah,
this is totally changing a lot of core systems down to their very core, and players are pumped for about 90% of this stuff. For about
so
90%
so
of it.
another 10% that'll be really loud, I'm sure.
Well, I think though the 10% comes in, they aren't pumped about that 10% because things haven't been explained or able to get their hands on yet. So, man,
They do talk about the divination cards. I saw that on their site. They're
so what's
like
the deal there?
they're basically like collectible cards that will drop in the Awakening. Well, I'll talk about that. You have divination cards are a new type of item that drops from monsters you encounter while playing. Sets of cards can be traded to the Act 4 NPC Tasuni in exchange for the item reference on the card. So you can they're actually almost like collectible loot stuff. You can drop that and you exchange that for loot. It says each card type drops in specific areas of raid class. So careful choice of where to play allows you to maximize your chances of obtaining the desired item.
I haven't played Path of Exile in a long time, and to be honest, this is really making me want to jump back in. This is really, I might stream this on Monday instead.
Well, you know what? If you want to get into the beta, I mean, that's what you really should do. Stream.
That's right. I should. I wonder if they have like an NDA or anything like that. Should probably look up on Twitch to see if anybody's
but
streaming.
I mean, you want to make sure to get in the beta. You don't want to wait for those invites.
Shut up.
So,
because if I told you what I actually did, this has nothing to do with Path of Exile free to play. But if I told you something that I did this week, you would drive from the southern state of Texas up to Pennsylvania and just beat my ass.
I feel like I've heard that. Like I think you tweeted about this, but go ahead.
I did, and I was like, I hope Jason Winter doesn't see this tweet. I hope he's in bed and it just sinks down his feed until he doesn't see it anymore. So, all right, fine. I'm jumping back into Path of Exile. I'm streaming that Monday. Forget the Oathbound Paladin. They got stuff to fix first. You got to let us know what you guys think of the Path of Exile update, though. I mean, it is a pretty huge update, and we've just kind of scratched the surface of it. Lots of good things going on. It still has one of the best payment models, in my opinion, as far as the cash shop goes. So let us know in the comments below if you're excited about the Awakening. If you're playing in beta and there is no NDA, which I haven't looked up, go ahead and give us your impressions in the comments. If there's an NDA, please don't.
Yeah. What I did want to say real quick is that here you go, man. There are all sorts of different packages for the supporter packs to get in for sure. Now, if you want, though, you can get the Highgate supporter pack, which gets you a closed beta key, Highgate supporter forward entire, 11,000 points, blah, 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 design a divination card. You can make up your own.
What?
All for the low price.
Let me guess. $100.
Not even close.
Really?
Not even close.
150.
Not even close.
Oh, I apologize because the $5, $10, and $20 is for just points from the shop.
Yeah, just for points.
That banner is a bit misleading.
Yeah,
I apologize.
You need to spend at least $30.
You need to spend at least $30 to get into closed beta with the Awakening supporter.
To get the Highgate supporter one, get $1,100.
Get the.
I am kidding you not.
What the hell do you get? Highgate supporter, $1,100. Closed beta key. Highgate supporter forum title, 11,000 points. Highgate social portrait. Another social portrait. Another portrait. Another portrait.
The only really big deal between it and the 260 package is the design your own card. You're basically going to pay about $800 for that.
Soundtrack, weapon effect. I mean, you're getting a ton of stuff, but again,
same as the previous one, with a couple more like weapon effect and a portrait frame, and the design a card.
Wow, that's absurd. So yeah, I misspoke at the top of this with the prices. Those were just for points. The banner was a little misleading there. I'm gonna blame the website design. No, I'm just dumb. We'll just go with me being dumb.
All right,
$30 is the base that gets you into the closed beta automatically. So 30 USD. So speaking of spending money, so our friends at Carbine Studios with WildStar, which presumably we're going to have an announcement soon about either a buy-to-play or a free-to-play conversion. We're already seeing the stories about the boxes being taken off of shelves in other countries, just like Elder Scrolls Online before it made its change. But not only that, WildStar they're running their own promotion, this mystery box promotion, that if you get a physical copy of the game from any of the retailers of choice, your retailer of choice, and you enter the serial code, not only do you get the 30 days that are that come with the software, but you get one of 3 random items. One's a mount, one's a costume, and the other one's a hoverboard kitty thing or whatever. And if you get all 3 of these, it's a random chance, of course. If you get all 3 of these things, then you get a special title as well. So I kind of figured, you know what? Let me see if anybody around my neighborhood, my neck of the woods, has WildStar boxes left on shelves, because I can't imagine that they're still $50 or anything. I haven't looked at WildStar pricing since I bought it at launch. And so, but you know, if I see one for $20, $30, I'll pick up 1 or 2, because to me, I'm spending $5 or $10 on a random mount chance, and you can stack the 30 days of game time anyway. So if I'm going to play it, which I like to poke my nose into games every once in a while to see what's changed, I'm going to spend $15 on a sub anyway. If I spend $20 or $30, I get the 30 days for a month sub and a chance at this thing. And you are able to sell these things on the auction house, so I figure I'll get some plat in the process if I get a duplicate. So I did find them. There's plenty of them in my neck of the woods. There's plenty of them. And I meant to go out and buy like 1 or 2.
Oh, God.
I might now have 8 boxes of WildStar on the shelf to my right. And
how much each? How much each?
$30 bucks. They were $29.99 each. So I am now a subscriber until November. Because I gave my wife one of the boxes to put on her account so that she could jump in and take a look at it too, since she hasn't played it in a while. So I added, yeah, I'm a subscriber till November. Here's the bitch. I still only have 2 out of 3 of the items. But I got a lot of the kitty mount, or the big fluffy Snorfelinks mount, to sell if anybody wants to buy those. And Jason is shaking his head in dismay. He is not happy with me right now. Moving on. Last thing this week. TERA from NMOS Entertainment. The Gunner class comes out May 5th. That's when the game comes out on Steam, which kind of seems like they should have done that by now. It's one of those, wait, we're not on Steam? Guys, did anybody realize we're not on Steam? I got some hands-on time with the class last week. We won't get too into depth. I wrote an article over on the site here, but my first impressions when I saw what the Gunner class was going to be, which is running around with a very big gun and shooting things, my first initial thought was, oh great, it's, why won't my gameplay footage start up? Come on, come on. What's going on? Go gameplay. Go gameplay. Apparently we don't have gameplay.
You never actually played, did you?
I never actually played it.
No.
Never once. I've got the footage right here. Why aren't you? You know what? Here, we'll do this. We'll do this. This is so professional. Oh, that's loud.
Keep in mind. Or hear it, thankfully. Apparently.
Okay. Whew. That's muted. I apologize, headphone wearers. So what you're watching right now is the Gunner class. It runs around with a gun. And so I expected it to kind of play like, you know, the Archer does, or any of the range kind of casters do, where, yes, TERA's known for its action combat, but with those classes, there still is an aspect of you got to stand still for certain things, right? Mm-hmm. Not so with the Gunner, man. The Gunner is pure run and gun. Pure run and gun. You are able to do everything on the fly, and in the footage you're watching, the Gunner that we're watching doesn't stop moving at all. Some of the abilities are really badass. They have the ability to summon one of 2 little companions. One is a bot that you see on the screen right now that will do a little bit of damage and some healing with you. The other one is to drop a turret robot, which is great at like fortifying a position or setting up a point for monsters to run to, and then you nuke it from afar. Really cool with those 2, though, Jason. You have the ability to put those companions in place and then instantly port back to them, ignoring monsters along the way. So you can kind of like set them up, go 35 meters away, unleash some havoc, and then jump away and unleash havoc where they're standing. It's pretty cool class. Pretty cool class. Is it worth jumping into TERA on May 5th to check out the new class, absolutely, I would say if you like TERA, it's definitely a class you're going to want to check out. It's a blast to play, and some of the abilities are way too satisfying as far as using them. Now, that said, oh, and by the way, if you jump in on May 5th when this goes live and the game launches on Steam, you get a cool spider mount too. From what I believe, it's permanent. I haven't seen anything, and when I asked the question, they didn't have a timeline, so I believe it's a permanent.
Are you sure you don't have to make 8 accounts to get the spider mount?
Right. Shut up. So pretty badass. Now there are downsides though. First off, it's the damn class is gender locked.
Welcome to a Korean MMO.
Yeah, but I hate games that have gender locking to begin with, but if it's in your game from the beginning, okay, at least I get why your subsequent classes would be gender locked. And while TERA does have restrictions on other classes too, as far as race and even gender to some degree, I hate that there's another one that's exclusively female. You have to be an elf or a Castanek female. That's it. That's it if you want to be a gunner. And please don't get me wrong, I'm not saying there shouldn't be female-only classes. I hate male-only classes too. I equally hate both of them. So that's kind of a drawback for me. Also, the archer or the gunner has a mechanic similar to some of the other classes where there's one key ability that you find yourself mashing all the time. Every single time it's on cooldown, and I hate that, especially in a game like TERA, and the gunner isn't the first class to do it in that game, but so the main mechanic with the gunner, Jason, is you have your mana, you have your HP, you do your abilities, you chain them together just like everything else, but while you're killing things, you gain willpower. And you have one ability that will also regen a little bit of willpower and mana, and so you are constantly spamming that ability. As soon as it's off cooldown, hit it. Off cooldown, hit it. Off cooldown,
how long is the cooldown on it?
It's like 10 seconds, 8 or 10 seconds.
Oh God, I thought it was. Yeah. Oh, that's terrible.
No. I'm going to look it up again just to be sure.
Well, that's in the vicinity. Yeah, I was thinking like if it's every minute or so, yeah, maybe all right. But yeah.
No. It's nothing like a minute or so.
That's just lazy and like part of the rotation.
Right, and other abilities for classes have done this before. So it's nothing new to TERA, but it's like, oh, this class is so much fun to play, and you're putting in a needless button stroke. A needless button stroke just to make me press one more thing that I don't really need to press. Just up the willpower gain a little bit from killing monsters, and then you never have to worry about it. I don't have the cooldown here. It doesn't even show it on the time, but it's not long. It's not ridiculously long. So you're hammering the button. That's a huge drawback for me because the willpower moves, you have a special move set like this rocket jump and this Gatling gun attack. The willpower moves that you can use with the willpower are so damn satisfying to use. The Gatling attack, oh, you're on the screen right now, you're watching the rocket one. And then the Gatling attack is you just slam on the space bar and you wave your mouse and just mow everything down. Ultimately, I really, 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 really like the gunner, and I could see me playing the gunner. However, there are issues with it. I don't like... See, now I've lost my free-to-play cast logos. What is going on here? There you go.
Stop trying to be so funny.
XSplit is not being fun today. So there are issues with the class. But if you like TERA, I would definitely check it out. Definitely check it out.
So if it's a heavy armor class and ranged,
Yep.
what is the disadvantage of it? If it's durable and has tons of damage?
You're going to piss off tanks. You're really going to piss off tanks.
Well, who cares if you draw all the
No. Because while the gunner's great at single target and AoE damage, most of its abilities are geared towards the AoE side as far as their area of effect and what they'll hit. So you're going to be pulling mobs that the tank didn't mean to pull. You're going to piss off berserkers because you're going to be rolling against their heavy armor too. There really wasn't a downside. It felt powerful. It felt durable. I'm sure there's going to have to be a little bit of balancing tweaks there. It was hard to tell in our demonstration a comparison of how squishy they may be in our little tour because everybody in the group was a gunner. So it would have been nice it will be nice on May 5th to kind of see this in action with a warrior, with a berserker, with some of the other classes as well. So, yeah. I really don't have a downside to it besides having to mash replenishment and being limited to only 2 races and the gender on that as well.
That's the disadvantage. You develop a faster carpal tunnel.
Right. You definitely will there. Let's slide over to the bombs. All right, I got an A-bomb this week for Echo of Souls Founders Packs. Terrible model of selections. You know my opinion on Founders Packs in general. Usually I don't care about tossing a couple of bucks the developer's way to help out.
Oh, no, you don't. You certainly don't care.
You're welcome, Carbine. But when you start making $1,100 Founders Packs, I question what the hell you might actually be doing when you could be doing something else. So Echo of Souls Founders Packs already have a little bit of a downplay, a disadvantage with me just because they're Founders Packs. But it's a terrible, terrible system. So here's the deal. First off, it's confusing. You're asking somebody to give you money, and it's confusing on how to do it.
That's a terrible way to ask people to give you money.
Right. It's very confusing. You really have to take a look at the Founders Packs and be careful so that you don't buy something that you don't want. So first off, there's a starter pack. That one's easy, right? $19.99, early game access, secure your open beta name, and an in-game and a founder forum in-game title and a forum title, couple magic lamps, couple blessing type things. Fine, $19.91. That one's fine. Then there's 3 other packs, all priced at $49.99. So you can't just look at the pricing and say, okay, so this is the base package, this is their most expensive package, going down a list, like we just did with Path of Exile, right? $30 to $1,100. Here we've got $19.99 and 3 packs at $49.99. Why? Because they've taken the 3 packs at $49.99 and tailored them towards a specific theme, if you will. One of them for $50 is a Companions pack, where you get a tiger mount and a baby llama, and it's just geared towards that type of stuff. One of them's geared towards an apparel pack. This one, to me, is a terrible idea because you're in a closed beta phase and you are actually having players have to pick which one of the 5 classes they know they want to spend this $50 for already. In the East, fine, you want to sell something like this? The game's been out for a while. Give me a chance to play it for a little while, and great. And you're probably going to offer these after launch, but this one seems like a silly one pre-launch or pre-open for me. The last one is what makes me even a little more A-bomby on Echo of Soul, even though I've been watching it. The last one's a $50 Dungeon Legend package. Has a bunch of crap in it. The one key item that I saw, I was like, oh, crap. 20 dungeon tickets. Use these tickets to enter dungeons more often. More dungeon runs means more bosses to kill, which just made me go, crap, they're going to limit me on the amount of content I like to play if I don't pay, a la Star Wars. So yuck. Yuck, 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 yuck. Terrible packs, in my opinion, for an already terrible free-to-play practice. You're up, sir.
All right, I'm going to give a dub bomb. And now this is I know this is sounding a little weird because here I am on a podcast, which I'm hoping people are going to watch, but I just don't do that much. I don't watch a whole lot. I'd rather, almost most of the time, read an article because I write stuff or whatever. I'd rather read stuff than usually watch podcasts, occasional streams or whatever. So, but because I'm going to have to be on it, and this is a little self-serving, whatever, because I have to be on Massively Opinionated a little later this week, I thought, all right, I better watch it. Better watch the episode they did. With this Burn guy on it, and
it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Check it out.
I was like, God, it's an hour and a quarter long. I'll sit through this, whatever. And I loved it. I thought it was great. I thought it was a lot of fun. I thought you guys did a great job, and it was just it was a lot of fun to watch. I was really surprised by it. Going in with a lousy attitude on it to come out thinking I really liked it. Now maybe it was influenced a little by the fact that I knew 3 of the 4 people on it, so I like watching you guys all talk. So.
Very cool. It was a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. I'm interested to see how some of the next episodes go. If you haven't checked it out, I plugged it a couple of weeks ago when we were going to get ready to record it. Check out Massively OP, and the show is Massively Opinionated. When are you on it?
I'm recording on Friday, like way too early in the morning.
So that'll be like next Wednesday when they put it up.
Probably. They just put out the new one like about 2 hours ago,
Yeah.
so I'll be probably next Wednesday. Yeah.
Very cool. Check it out. Check it out. Check it out. I was on episode 1, and it sounds like you'll be on episode 3. From the viewers, Greater Divinity says, Mike, to the point of the price of digital items, this is talking last week when I was a bit miffed that Daybreak was banning people because they screwed up the pricing in their cash shop, and we kind of said, it's an arbitrary value in a lot of cases.
You said that more so.
I said, oh yeah, it was definitely me. Greater Divinity says, you're right, they don't cost anything to reproduce once they're made. But remember, they're not just paying for themselves and the time it took to create them. It's more than a few $100 between the art, the back-end QA, and others involved in getting the item created and into the store for purchase, all of which were things you and I discussed as being part of that fee. Those items are literally paying for the game. They're paying for coders, artists, bandwidth costs, electricity, healthcare coverage, etc., just as a subscription in a pay-to-play MMO covers those things in addition to providing access. This is something I think far too few people remember. Those items in the cash shop, in addition to an optional subscription for some games, are literally how these companies keep the lights on and staff employed. When you have a big volume of them moving at what are clearly unintended prices, it'd be like walking into Best Buy and seeing a computer marked down to $15, which would instantly trigger red flags for anyone with a brain. That's a huge amount of potential revenue being flushed down the toilet. I agree Daybreak Games has been awful in how they handled this and shouldn't be handing out bans. Just revoke the items and return people's stations cash. But let's be real here. Those items are their livelihood, and those people took advantage of something prices that were very clearly in error.
Coming out in favor of the cash shop, man. Greater Divinity, what are you doing using logic and being reasonable?
Right? Hard to argue.
All free-to-play is evil and cash shops suck. Come on, man.
Hard to argue. Hard to argue. Great point, Greater Divinity.
Yeah. All right, 5000 CZ says, A-bomb for Steam's paid Modders Workshop. The prices are like DLCs priced for costumes and such, which are absurd. Modding is because of the love for the game, not to make a profit. That has been the ethics of modding. Now it seems like everyone is trying to make money and throwing ethics out the window. Gaming industry already is corrupted and horrible. Now Steam wants to take away the last redeeming factor of dignity for gaming, which is the love for the games. Except that they now have gotten rid of it. So.
Yep, that just happened just today.
Yesterday, I think.
Or
maybe today or yesterday. I don't know.
Something like that. ABC says, A-bomb for Valve for raping the only good thing left in the PC gaming. I hope they don't somehow also get their hands on all those amazing RPG Maker games I enjoy for free and make them pay to play.
Why don't you take the next one, too?
Yeah, Biograve, A-bomb to Steam. As you'll notice, there's a theme this week with Steam and the modding thing. However, it's gone. You're up.
Oh, I was going to say Biograve says A-bomb to Steam.
I said that one.
Oh, you just said? Oh,
yep.
I missed it so fast. All right.
I know.
All right, Carl Stewart says, how old is that footage? Obviously referring to something we showed last week.
Yeah, Heroes of the Storm. It's from our first looks, so unless I have
That's
newer footage from MMO Bomb, like if Jason or I do a gameplay action, or if one of us Bomb Lives streams a game, it's usually from first looks. You should see the League of Legends footage when we talk about it.
So Heroes of the Storm hasn't looked like that in forever. No, I don't think it'll knock out LoL or Dota 2. But it's doing the Blizzard thing and occupying a different space in the same genre. Much like Hearthstone, it'll be popular, and they made the esport push having the Heroes of the Dorm shown on ESPN2. They're trying to get it recognized as both a casual and serious game, and there are already numerous tournaments. I very much enjoyed it more than I did League.
And Jason wrote an awesome article about the ESPN backlash, I guess is a good word for some of it. So check it out on mmobomb.com. Cody Welch says, progression servers, which I asked you guys about as far as EverQuest goes. Idea sounds pretty neat. I think I would try an EQ version, but a downside may be that the EQ expansions aren't really linear. LDON, for example, could be tempting to start at any time after level 15 to 20-ish. As for Heroes of the Storm, I think there's potential for it to compete with Dota 2. As far as convincing people to try MOBAs, new people seem to favor Heroes of the Storm as the easiest learning curve. On the other hand, I found Heroes of the Storm's talent system very interesting. Some of my more experienced MOBA player friends believe that Heroes of the Storm is the hardest, which may result in more interesting professional competitions. The ESPN thing seems very inconvenient.
Might be the gameplay is, we often talk about the gameplay, about that being, we don't have the last hit, and it's meant to be a little simpler, but maybe the back end, maybe the pregame stuff is a little more complex.
Question of the week. Last week I asked you guys and gals, tell me what you think of Tree of Savior. A lot of people are tracking the game and commenting on it on MMO Bomb. Are you one of the excited ones? Why or why not? Terranova667 says, I have to admit I hadn't heard of Tree of Savior. So I checked it out on MMO Bomb, and I like what I see. It reminds me of the JRPGs of old, especially the art style, and using the D-pad on a controller to move around. Hopefully, it will get a Western release sometime soon. I don't know about sometime soon, but yes, it will get a Western release. They've already said that that will be global, and that's Terra Nova. You see it like I do. In the article that I wrote most recently for Tree of Savior, I likened the art style to something like a Legend of Mana art style from PlayStation 1. So I'm looking at it the same way you are.
Yep, it'll get a release just like or Phantasy Star Online 2.
Man, every week, damn it.
Gotta work it in. Gotta work it in.
Yeah? Lotra closed in Russia.
Yeah, whatever. All right. Mega17 says, seen footage of Tree of Savior and it looks like just another anime-inspired MMO. There's no indication this is an improvement of the genre, so I'm not the least bit excited. We've seen games like TERA and Arcade pass by, as well as upcoming games like Black Desert. Unless Tree of Savior has a story or puzzle experiences engaging as Guild Wars 2 or The Secret World, it's just another cash grab MMO to be ignored for me. Yeah, Mega, I'm totally on your side.
All right. So I'll be with Terra Nova, you be with Mega on this one. We'll see what happens when it comes out.
He's kind of right in that it's probably nothing especially inspiring, but the notion that it won't do well because people will just fling money at it, yeah, who knows.
I hope they have Founders Packs. Question of the week next week, or this week. Now I'm giving future questions. Are you planning to check out Terra's new Gunner class when it comes out on May 5th? Why or why not? Put your comments down below. Make sure while you're there you give us your A-bombs, your dub-bombs. Dub-bomb for something good, A-bomb for something bad in the gaming world. Hell, it could be anything you want. As you hear, we'll take your questions, answer them. If you've got a question for Jason, I, or any other host that's on the show, we'll get them in there and answer them for you. Until next week, gang, Jason Winter, where can everybody find you at, sir?
Find me on the Twitters at Winter Informal, streaming twitch.tv/JasonWinter, and I'm not going to bring up the blog again until I actually post something there, but whatever.
And I'm sure you'll tweet out when your episode of Massively Opinionated goes up so all the MMO Bomb viewers can go check it out.
Of course. And there might even be a new triple play coming out soon.
Oh, that's what the rumor mill says. I'm Mike Byrne, a.k.a. Magic Man. You can follow me on Twitter at MagicMan1. That's MAGICKMANN1, where occasionally I tweet about how many boxes of WildStar software I'll buy in a given week. Until next time, gang, stay safe, and we'll see you on the servers.